glitchy every time.
I know. Sometimes it gets me though, because it like speeds up and slows down. It's like that rabbit that's trying to finish the race and just can't figure out which speed to run.
I think we're due for an update.
Control Alt Delete Delete.
Yeah, I mean that one's been the intro for about what, a year now, 2 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And we need an outro.
And we need an out. That is true.
Maybe we can get one of like Mike dancing or something.
I'm in.
Make that the outro. I think that would be pretty good.
I'm in. I mean, I'm game.
I mean, he's not here
to defend himself. All right. Well, I am Jeff Fuller from Fuller Embroidery Works, and that is Matthew Enderley from Patchphrase. And today we are. Wait, let me look. We are digitizing live. Dun dun dun. So Matt has a design that he needs to get out, and we are going to be digitizing that live. And today's software of choice, are we going to play Rush or software roulette, or are we just going to go with one?
Well, we're going to be doing Hatch today. However, I do need to make a new blooper. So I'm going to pull up a picture that Jeff doesn't even know what this picture is yet. He has no idea. He can't even see it down below in the peanut gallery. And now he just disconnected. So I still see him. Just kidding, I don't. I think his USB just crashed. But here, I should probably click the link. Look at this. So we needed a topic for the live. I said I had a design, and then Justin calls me out now for getting all my digitizing done on digitizing 911s or on the needle bar. So joke's on him instead of me having him or Jeff do it. We're going to have Jeff do it now that he came back. But he should probably add himself. There we go.
I mean, I could add myself, but you were doing such a good job. I just thought I would watch for a little while.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
We'll see if my USB crashes again.
Yeah. Good old Windows 11 updates.
I know. Literally installed an update. I had to update the software, and then I clicked restart, and Windows decided that it was going to jump on the back of the software and install its updates. And there was a little bit that it was like, maybe I'm not going to be here today.
All right. We got comments?
We got comments. I'll go ahead and pick them up. So we have Nikki saying hello, boys, from New York. We have Beck saying hello. Jesse Gibson from Cyclone, West Virginia. And we have Laura watching from Michigan.
Got a couple
and okay, so my screen says that your screen's there twice.
Yeah, because one is the webcam and one's the actual desktop.
Oh, well, maybe you're using too many devices, and that's why my USB keeps crashing.
Okay, fine. I fixed it.
Oh, okay. All right, so we have that wonderful design, and Matt's got his screen up, and I'm supervising from my screen.
All right. So, yeah, it's been approximately 479 days since we've done a live on Wilcom Hatch embroidery.
Now, wait a minute. Did you actually go look up that number?
Well, absolutely. You didn't?
No.
So you don't know if I'm right or wrong. So we'll go with the number.
All right.
That would be a Friday. Actually, we were doing lives Fridays. That's right.
No, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, Wednesdays. We do them all.
Days of the week.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Hatch 3. So, and the highest tier, the digitizer or designer or whatever it is. I don't even know where my window is.
Digitizer. I mean, I can see it. Does that count?
No, that does not. Okay. So I have it. We're going to get rid of this pop-up. Let's see. I'm trying to remember if this is gonna. Okay, it does show me the thinger. Okay, cool. Just making sure that you guys can actually see all the menus because sometimes it doesn't. Sweet. So I have not used Wilcom Hatch in a long time. I just installed it, and it's probably been a couple months. I think when Hatch 3 came out, I bought it, played with it, and then put it on the cold storage pile. So we're just bringing it back to life. But this is a design that I need to do. And it is going to be a black patch or black stitching on a yellow twill.
Okay.
So it's really only one color. So
All right.
now we're going to turn it over to Jeff to do it.
Okay, so I'm going to move my Matt's mouse on his screen.
I think you're drunk.
Yeah, I am drunk. All right, so I guess the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to have to size your art properly.
I will.
Or did you pre-size it?
I did not. So
okay.
This little snippet here is a screenshot of the email of the size that they need. So I need to resize this. However, I don't think there is the
scale by reference line.
Yeah, I don't think that exists in here.
It should. It should exist in every software. Every software. That's my 2 cents.
It should, but does it actually have it?
I don't think so.
Edit artwork. Oh, that's going to do. Okay, that's not it.
I mean, I could pull it up too. And
okay. Well, so if your software doesn't have it, this is how I used to do it. Where is digitize open shape? So I can get a line. And then actually what I'm going to do too is I'm going to dim the artwork to make it a little easier to see. I'm going to choose a random color. I'm holding Control to do a straight line, and I'm just going to do this. And now I got a line. And it tells me the height of that line is 5.883, and I need it to be 3.45. So I would do 3.45. Now I got my 58.64% difference. I would take that and then select my artwork and put that in there. Because then if I do this, it's 3.45, and it matches up pretty close to what I have here. And that's how I used to do it. In other tools or software, you have tools that are actually, you just click one point, click another point, type in what you want it to be, and it'll automatically resize it. So now I can go ahead and delete that. And just to be sure, I can hit M to measure it, and I can go across, and I get 2.52. So that's close enough. And Jeff isn't saying anything, so I must be doing it right.
Or Jeff's doing what you're doing, but on his screen. Whoa. Yeah, I'm pretty close to doing what you're doing.
Except Jeff is already done.
Well, I mean, I pre-did the design, so there is that.
Oh, you already did it?
No.
Oh. I was going to say, then why am I doing this? You just show yours and do some editing and whatever and make it look like I actually did it. But all right. So another thing I do is I try to make sure that it's actually centered in the artwork. Luckily, Hatch and Wilcom stuff, it actually centers it right away for you. So I don't have to worry about that. And there's reasons why that I'll get into. But I'm going to go ahead and lock the artwork. That way I don't accidentally move it and then digitize out of alignment, because that bugs me.
So how did you lock your artwork?
I right-clicked it and then I hit lock. The other thing you can do too is come over here. Whoa, that is really, really interesting. You can bring up your sequence, and then you can do your lock and unlock and stuff like that. So,
all right.
So now you got to kind of look at the design and figure out what is going to be like on top. So I'm probably not going to start with the armor for the knight, because otherwise my lines for the shoot is going to go over it. So that's probably what I'm going to do first, is that, and then end with that, do the text, stuff like that. I don't know what this is, but
what this is, what
is underneath the helmet, but
I'm just gonna say that goes in the background.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. But the other thing too I'm going to think about is I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this design. I mean, it's going to be a lot more because we're doing it live. But it's not supposed to be a very high detailed patch. It's just supposed to be something that they don't want. They don't want it super detailed. If it's like an actual patch like this one where I'm going to put a lot more time into it, I'm not going to do that. This is going to be pretty basic, flat style.
Where's Justin? It's his favorite kind.
Blooper
reel.
So yeah, I'll have that in the description. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure I remember what all tools I have, because this is going to be a little different. So I could probably do these lines all in the satin tool, because it's pretty basic. Now I got to remember that's just going to be. I mean, actually, I could do these as applique. I could.
You could do a lot of things.
Or I could mirror it. And I think I was going to mirror it, so I don't need to do that. But I will do an outline first. So digitize close shape. And the cat is running around upstairs, so if you hear anything, that's what it is. So I'm left clicking there. I'm actually going to do a center line. Okay, back to the drawing board. Of course, this artwork is not straight.
Well, that would make it too easy, Matt.
Yeah, right? It can never be that easy. All right, so I got my outline. So that's pretty simple. And then I'm going to go in, and then I'm going to start doing these lines. So I'm going to go to the center. I guess I should have probably turned off the bleeping.
I mean, I'm good with your bleeping and your blooping.
Let me see if I can remember how to do that. More volume settings. Where's volume mixer? Wow, they really hide this.
Well, that's okay. We can't see Matt editing his general settings. So while he's doing that, we'll go ahead and we'll say Dustin's watching. Good evening. We have Woody joining us. Hello. Ramona, she made it. Nikki says she's excited. Frank, good morning to you as well, sir. And Ramona says she does the same thing in sizing that you did, but with a template box. And go into software settings, Matt.
Oh, well, I just did it through Windows, so I already got it. Okay, so now I'm gonna make this line right here satin. So I'm using my measure tool, which is M on the keyboard, or you can get it under one of these. I don't know which one.
We'll see when he finds it. Nobody tell him.
That one. Oh, don't let Allie see the zebra.
See the zebra, Allie. So Allie, there's a zebra here. Please see the zebra. We would like you to see the zebra.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. But M on your keyboard will bring it up. So
M is in measure?
Yeah. Oh, it's under view measure tool. Interesting. It's an interesting spot for it. But so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to measure the width here. So it's a 1.5 is what I'm going to go with. So I select that. Then on Hatch, under your object properties, that's where all your different parameters are going to be. So single run is your typical, but I'm going to do satin. If you click raise satin, you're going to get multiple passes. It looks cooler in the software, but when you actually stitch it out, it's going to turn out absolutely horrible.
How do we know, Matt?
Everything in it. Don't ask me how I know.
I just asked you, how did you know?
Because I may have done that. I think I actually have the. Yeah, from here. This is it's not going to fit really well, or it will. This is done in that satin. It almost looks like it's 3D puff, but it looks really, really bad. So, okay, so I did satin, width of 1.5, and you can see that that's looks pretty good. And then there's other things that you have to pay attention to. This is where like your digitizing classes come in, is learning exactly your underlay settings, because you don't want to do like a tatami underlay under here. That just won't make sense. That's way too much busyness going on. So I can probably leave it with a center run, which is going to run down here. and then run backwards. And there's no underlay 2, which is fine. If it's a longer one, you could probably, or wider one, you could probably do an edge run as well, but I'm not going to worry about it. Pull comp, that's where you're going to get your distortions. So if you're going to have this be like the outline of a shape, you're going to get that gap in between. You can kind of fix it here, but more likely you got to fix it on the fill. And then your tie-ins and your trims and stuff like that, I'm going to leave it all because I'm going to path it as I go. So now I got this shape. So I'm going to bring it back up this way. And then I'm going to make that a satin as well. Same thing, just that. And then I'm doing Shift N to just digitize a open shape.
Okay.
Keyboard shortcuts are the best because you'll learn how to digitize really fast with it. And I'm just going to come back up here. And then we will have it run back down. And then come up there. Oops, what did I do? Run him back up. Run back around. All right, so now I'm going to select all these ones that I just did, convert them to be satins. And I can edit multiple at a time by using Control or Shift. There you go. So now if I remember how to show the stitched out.
The slow redraw?
Oh, player, there it is. And we're going to speed this up a little bit. That might be a little much. That's a little slow. So it's going to do that one. It's going to run over to this one. It's going to end down here. Then run up there. And then run over to that one. And then go down. And then that's where it's going to end because that's my last shape. Okay, cool. So this will all be adjusted a little bit whenever I figure out exactly where my tolerances are going to be for my edges because I'm going to marrow it. So I need about a 4 millimeter. Got to stop it. So I always adjust the things that are closest to the edge towards the end. I do a lot of fixing at the end.
Hold on, Matt. We have a question here. It says, why do you have it run back down? And we got to never mind later, but we're going to answer the question anyways because I'm going to make you answer the question.
I don't know for which one exactly.
Probably all of them. Essentially, you're pathing it, right?
Yeah. So this one actually has an issue here. I saw that when I was replaying it through. So I hit T, disable true view, so I could see the actual stitches. So what is happening is I'm trying to eliminate tie-ins and all that, and trims. So there's something going on here too.
So do you have closest join enabled, Matt?
Isn't that automatic?
It should be, but you can turn it off. I typically do.
I'm not even sure where that would be. But basically what I'm doing now is I'm changing the pathing so that way the machine doesn't have to stop and trim because each trim takes about 7 seconds depending. That's your average. Some take longer, some take less time. But I'm using the reshape command or tool, I think, edit objects.
Node edit.
And I'm basically wherever the green square is, that's where the start is going to be. And then the red X is going to be where it ends. So it's going to start here. I went all the way back to the beginning. So the first one starts in the border. It'll start and end here. The next shape is this one, and I'm using the tab and shift tab to just go between my objects. So it's going to run down here. It's going to continue there, runs down here, runs up, continues here. It's going to stop there. Then this one, it's up there. So it's that triangle means it's going to trim. So then it's going to trim, it's going to move a little bit, and it's going to tie in and then continue running. And if I do a lot of that in that spot, it's going to get really knotty on the back and really thick. So that's where if I move this down here, I got rid of that triangle. It's not going to trim. It's just going to run, do this satin, come back all the way down here. Again, this one's in the wrong spot. So if I drag it up here, hit tab, go to the next one. This one's a little different because satins, they don't start and stop in the center right here. It's going to start on the end. So what I could actually do a little bit is move it up here and then sheet move that one there. And then how does this one move that down there? That there runs over to that one, ties in there, goes up here, runs over to that one picks it up, stops down there, and that's the end. That's how far I got. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. I got to kill this pop-up. Stupid Corel draw. Like, no, I don't.
You can't see that.
Yeah. And I'm doing this in green instead of black because if I did it in black, it would blend in a little bit more. So you kind of do it in a higher contrast color.
So you can see what you're doing.
Yeah. And save often. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have this one end back up on top. So I'm going to bring this back up. And then I'm going to have it do this line waviness right here. I don't know if you heard that, but that is the dog chasing the cat. So
worth it.
All right. So digitize. So the shape I would like, or the tool I would like to use is the column B or whatever it is. Okay, let's get rid of these tips. So another tool that you can use is the digitizing blocks. So what that's going to do is you're going to do 2 points along the whole way. So I'm going to start here, go like this, right click to create a curve, left click to create a straight point. So right click, left click, right, left. Hit enter. And that created a outline. So what I actually want to do is make a satin, and that didn't work right.
You did it as a satin outline. You need to do it as the fill.
I did digitize blocks though. Does that not work for that one?
You have to have fill selected first.
Why didn't you tell me that? Oh, wait. Up there. Okay, so at the top, you select fill. And then satin. All right, so now the lines look really weird. That makes no sense. You can tell here if I go into this way, you can see that the stitches are this way. It would make way more sense if it's going vertical up and down. So what I'm going to do is, I believe it's Control H, or under here it's add stitch angles, and I'm just going to hold shift or control. I get a straight line, and then I can hit enter, and now I got everything is running straight up and down. A little different way that you could do that too is this is how adding the stitch angles is how you would do curves. So if I wanted it to be like following the contour of it, I could do something like this.
Matt, can you do that again?
All right. So I just demonstrated how to do it with the contour. So as it flows, it'll go around like that. Actually, I'll exaggerate it a lot. Digitize open shape. All right. And then satin. All right. So it's flowing all the way around like it's a circle. It's going to continue on it. Now, if I were to do, hopefully this will actually work. Oh, that's an outline. 1 second, please.
And I am trying to keep an eye on the comments here as we go. And
Okay.
I might be low-key racing you.
Well, you're not the one demonstrating everything, so.
I know.
So this is demonstrating if I want it to go straight up and down. You're going to see that it'll do fine for the most part. Let me shrink this guy down a little bit. All right. So whenever you see like this part right here, that's called a auto trim or auto jump, or what is it? Auto jump. Yeah. So if I got rid of that, it should not show that. I don't know why it is.
I believe what you're looking for is if you select it and you go under, not the stitching, go under the fill.
Auto split. There we go. That's what I want. Auto jump is the other thing. Duh. So right here, that is the max distance that most embroidery machines can go, which is like 12 point something. So you typically don't want to encroach on that area. So you're going to have it auto split. So that's where you leave it on, and that's where it can kind of give that weird texture. So what you typically will do is add the stitch angle. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Just what is going on. Okay, so it's a graphics thing. So then you're going to draw your stitch angles going all the way around, and it will put that contour in it. What is with this grid on here? Okay, well, that's definitely a bug because it doesn't. Okay, we'll just ignore that. All right, so you can see that. And the same thing, I could remove the stitch angles, and that's what I had showing before. So I just basically added them. And you don't have to do as many. I could just do pretty much 2. I could do 1 here. And I could do 1 here, and it will automatically figure out the angles in between. So that's how you can do it there. So here, I don't want it to be flowing all the way around. I just want it straight up and down. So I'm going to remove that. I'm just going to drop a straight one with control to make sure it's perfectly straight. And there we go. So now I want to make sure, select this guy, hit H. It's going to end at the cross there. Move this guy a little closer. Then he's going to end right there. And I want him to go over here. And now I can start working on the helmet or whatever. Still don't have a clue what this thing is, but that's where I should probably ask them. But I'll send them the artwork anyways and be like, how does this look? And then they'll like it and say, run it. And we'll be off to the races. So save it again. Now let's see. So I guess I might as well just run down there and take care of whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm interested. How are you gonna handle that object since you're not quite sure what it is?
I'll probably just do it to Tommy Phil, to be honest. I don't want to draw attention to it. I want to draw attention to the helmet, I think.
Okay.
Every time I looked at this design in the Instagram that they sent it to me over, it was like I was tired, so I never bothered to ask what this was. But All right, so I selected the digitize close shape. If I was using a tablet like Jeff is to his right, I could use the draw freehand close shape, but it's kind of a pain with mouse. So I'm just going to do the same thing and just kind of run around it. And I'm not going to pay too much attention to.
Yeah, you're zoomed in. I don't know how far you're zoomed in, but a lot more than.
I don't even know where it shows you how. Oh, on top. So 600, I think, is about the max you typically want to go.
Yeah, it's about a 6-to-1. I zoom in more sometimes, but you always want to make sure that you're keeping your zoom factor in mind, because a stitch can only be what, a millimeter long. I mean, it can be shorter, but there are rules with that and material differences. But good rule of thumb is about 1.2 millimeters long, and it's going to have to curve around a corner. So you really need to make sure that you might be trying to hug every single curve. Then you zoom out, and it can't follow that anyways because it's too detailed.
Yeah, because that was actually the thing that hit me the most when I started digitizing. Is I'd like zoom in here. I'm gonna do an example. This is kind of backwards, but I would do like a lot of little points in here, and then come up like this, and then go back like that. It's not gonna turn out to be that shape. I mean, you can see it already doesn't look right, but each of these points here, depending on your software, might actually put a point there. So you want to stay zoomed out, because that was like 18 times your actual size.
And it's only what, like 3 inches tall?
Yeah. So I got rid of the branding on the screen so you could see, but on the top right, I have a zoom scale. So if I do 600%, that's going to be 6-to-1.
Oh, you know the cool way to do that? Hit the F key on your keyboard. Type in a singular value. So like 3, it'll take you 3-to-1.
Oh, well, I just zoom in and I just watch it. But yeah, so it's on the top right, and you just try to make sure, and it just happens to stop around a little under 6. So that it just got lucky, but I'm going to go ahead and bring that back up. Okay, so I'm going to select this object here and change it to a fill, and then we'll see what it looks like. Again, I don't know what this is, so
it's a fill.
We're just going to leave it. So this is one thing that we could fix here too. So this satin is going under it. If you have a lot of layers, so I have one patch, I don't have it in front of me. I could probably open it up in Willcom, but I have the background fill for the entire patch. Then I have like the bird, like feathers, or the main body of the bird is there. And then I have the head overlapping it. And then I have a satin running through it. It gets really thick on that spot. So a way to prevent that is you take that object. So right now I have this satin, and now that I have this layer over it, because I didn't think about this before, I intentionally did it this way to demonstrate it. I'm going to go with, you go under edit objects, and then you can knife it. So some other software, it might have a feature where it can just detect that and do this all in one step for you. This doesn't, because this is a hobbyist software. So I'm going to knife it, and I'm just going to do this. And then I'm going to leave a little bit of overlap on the lowest point. So if I cut it right here, there'd be a gap. It will expand, but it's a tiny little satin, so it's not going to do a whole lot. And then down here, I'm going to let it come into the shape just a little bit as well. So now I knifed that, and you can see by my selections here, I scrolled up, I have the top, the under layer or whatever, and then the bottom part. So this is actually really easy now, because all I have to do is go to outline, change it to a single run, and now I have just this object right here. So it's going to do this, run straight down and do that, and now it won't be so thick right here. So it's probably not a big deal here, considering it's going to be just 2 layers, but just having that fundamental down is going to help you way, or not way down, but just
You always want to achieve what you're trying to achieve with the least amount of stitches possible.
That too, and actually, let's see. So we are at 2200. Yeah, so I took off 20 stitches. Doesn't mean that I have to charge them 2 cents less.
No, you need to charge them 2 cents less.
I'll charge them 2 cents more for the amount of work it actually took me to put that in, though.
Yeah.
And I don't really need to adjust these because the triangle did not pop up. But if you're doing a much larger object, then yeah, you would need to adjust where your
it all depends on that closest join setting that you have in your software, because a lot of times I'll shut that off. So by default, Hatch has it in there, and it'll automatically try and put your points as close to each other as much as it can. But sometimes I like to have more granular control, and I want to put it where I want to put it. And so I'll turn that off. If you have it on, then it's going to try to do, it's going to try to automatically path that for you.
So we got that. And I guess I should make sure this is going to end right there. Starts and stops there. And then I'm going to bring it over. I'm going to do the fuzzy part. Sorry, Knights of whatever. I don't know what it's called. Sue me. So I'm going to digitize the block, and I'm just going to go around. And then I'm also going to bring it in. I'm not going to go all the way to the end because I'm going to do that all the way once I get all these shapes done. So again, just to demonstrate this one, and then the rest I'll do all together. I'm going to make it a fill. I'm going to do a satin, and then add my stitch angle. Just do these two, and then that one's done. I'm going to do Shift N, which is the shortcut. If you hover over these, it'll tell you what it is. Not all of them have shortcuts. So that's going to be your biggest thing when you're switching different softwares. So another thing that Jeff is like, Matt, just set your preferences at the beginning, and then you don't have to edit it at the end. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so I selected Digitize Block, and I'm going to preset everything, because you notice how every time I finished it, it was always a single run, outline, no fill. And it's clearly, if I'm doing a digitized block, I don't want to do that. If I was going to, I would just do a digitized close shape. So click this one. I'm going to hit fill. See that the properties changed. Now I can do satin. And then I could change whichever features I want. Depending on the level of software you have, you might not have all of these different. I don't know what's in the lower tiers. I have no idea. So if you don't have it, that's by the way.
One of the advantages of digitized blocks, because you could just draw the outline shape there, and then you could change it to a fill, and you can set your stitch angle. But if you notice the digitized blocks, it's a point and then a counterpoint. And between those 2 points is your actual stitch angle. So when Matt's drawing this object, those are the 2 outside edges, and the line in between is going to be his stitch angle. So he's able to accomplish 2 things at once versus drawing the outline, changing it to a fill, and then setting his stitch angles.
Yep. So I'm going to demonstrate that again, and I'm going to do it really funky to demonstrate exactly what will happen. Because this is why I don't use this tool a lot, because I didn't plan it out a whole lot. And I would run into like circumstances where like I'd click here, and then it's like, okay, well now I got to go smaller, and then I don't really keep it sequenced right, and I'm like really purposely. So this one doesn't really look too bad in true view, but when you go in here, you can see that there's like random points right here.
It's trying to bunch up in that spot because there's two stitch angles are too close together, and it's
Yeah.
trying to calculate how to smooth those stitches between those two stitch angles. So if you bunch them too close together, then you're going to have that problem.
So what I'm going to do is, and another thing with like any software, like vectors and whatever, you want to do your shape in as few points as possible. Like if you do a circle, you want to do it in, like 4 points or less. You don't want to do a circle with like 24 points because then it's that much more chance of it, not being a circle. So that's what I am doing here. So that looks a lot better. And I'm going to run it back this way and digitize again.
So one of the really slick things that Matt can do, because he's moving from digitize block to run stitch to digitize block to run stitch. So what he could do instead is he could hit the space bar and it'll actually toggle between those two tools.
Yep. And that I do in actual full will comp, but and then once you get into like actual digitizing, like full scale, if you get into shapes where like your satin meets another satin at the geometry complete like perpendicular angles, you're going to get that little separation where it's going to have, because it's running this way, this is going to pull that away, and then you're going to have a gap in between. So you're going to have to learn some of the ways to defeat that. We'll save that for a different video, just because we don't want to have too many, I don't want to say advanced, but techniques in this one. Just keep it a little simpler. And actually, I just realized that I'm going to probably have to adjust all the bottom points now that I think about it.
So if you look, we can tell that Matt's going to need to adjust some of those bottom points, because at the, if you zoom out a little bit, Matt, you can see he's got those little circles and those little triangles. And the circle means that it's going to tie in and it's going to do a knot, and then it's going to run the object. And the triangle means that it's going to tie out and do the knot, and then it's going to trim and then move just a little bit, and it's going to tie in again. And every trim is, let's say, 4 stitches that are really close together, subsequential, that it's causing the stitch to go on top of each other. It's going to cause a knot. It's going to leave 2 tails on the bottom of your embroidery, roughly 1/2 inch long. And those tails are going to cause, if you put too many together, those tails start grabbing onto each other, and you get a little point on the back side of your embroidery that's really rough to wear. And it scratches and it hurts. So doing the least amount of knots that you can in small areas, and this entire design, actually, if it was plotted out, it should really only be maybe 1 trim, and that should be the very last one. Sometimes you can get into it where you digitize yourself into like moving out into the center, or the center moving out, and you get stuck somewhere. But really, it should be about 1 trim. Well, it should be 1 trim, and then it'll do 1 word and trim and another word and trim. It depends on your lettering, really, because some people like it to trim on every letter, and some people like to jump around and not.
Yeah, like when I was doing all my name patches, I would do trim on every letter because I didn't want to have to go through and redo it. However, now I've found that I get much better and cleaner text if I manually trim it. Plus, I can get it to where there's like 1 trim. I just threw it away, but I had an example.
And it runs faster on the machine if you manually trim it. Oh, Matt, I think you digitized yourself into a corner.
I did.
I back up 2 objects.
Yeah, so what Jeff means by that is, because now I want to do this shape next. but I landed right here or up there, depending on how I did it. And the other thing too is I kind of want to exit over here and then go into the border. I'm doing this for production. If you're a home user and you don't mind trims and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about this. You just trim whenever you want. But I'm making hundreds of these patches at a time. So every time it trims, yeah, that's 7 seconds times 100. That's a lot of time.
Yep.
So I'm trying to save that. So what I could do is instead of doing this object and then this one, that's not what I want. Good thing you didn't see that. These two, and I'm going to make them orange. I could come in and do the inside, and then once I have all this done, go to this one, end here, and then run out. And then I don't have a trim. I can actually get rid of 2 trims there, because then I would have, if I did it the way I have now, I have to trim either over here or over there, do this, trim, tie in here, do that, and then I still will have trims for the text, but
all right, Matt, we've got a question here for you. Why didn't you just do one element for the whole outside columns instead of 3 columns, make them one? So I think that's your 3 orange, the one at the back, or that's not orange, but the green one at the back of the feathery thing, and your 2 orange ones. Why didn't you do those as one object instead? Instead, you did them as 3 objects.
As instead of like you're saying like a tatami fill?
No, the 2 orange pieces.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do those and the one at the very back as one piece?
Like this? I'm not following. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay. I could show you on my screen that has hatch on it. There. I might have went just a little bit ahead, but like here,
and now Jeff died. So his let me make this full screen so I can actually see it. So he's waiting for his thing to come back up, but I think I see what he's trying to do. It would be nice if he could just, just talk like a normal person and have a webcam again, but USB sucks sometimes. But basically what they're trying to show is how you can do all of that as one. And you just do the, the 5 other ones as individual objects, and then it would be fine. But yeah, Jeff is already done, so why don't we just use his? Oh, and now it's just completely gone. So he probably just restarted or something. I don't know. And now he's actually completely gone. So I'm going to bring it back in. So that's the beauty of when you actually have your digitizing software, is there's never really a wrong way to do it. I mean, there is, but as long as you can justify it and it sews out fine, you're good. So I can always change this too. I could do that. I could merge these objects and make it all do it as one. That is certainly true. Or I could do it my way. If you asked me to digitize this again in a year, I'd do it completely different. It's just a matter of things you learn and whatever. So we're going to run the solo now, since Jeff apparently killed his computer. So I'm going to go ahead and run this fill here. So I'm going to digitize a closed shape. And now that I've seen Jeff do it, I can kind of follow his lead. And we're just going to run it around. And I'm going to continue down. And I think it'll go up like this. And then I will do around here and close that off. So then I will make this a fill. And instead of doing satin, because that's going to look funky like this, what we'll do is do a tatami. And then I will come and do the rest of the shapes here. Okay. Save it because I don't really want to lose it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually have it end down here. So right now it's going to start, and I will be moving these to the end, but we'll come back to that. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to move this out of the way and move that down. And then I'm going to turn this into a digitizing block, still fill, still satin, and forgot I'm using this tool. And then let's see. I probably could make a tatami fill here. Let's see. How big is this going to be? So zoomed in a little far. And we're going to do closed shape. And then make that a fill, tatami. I'm going to change my stitch angle with H. Do that. So it's going to do this shape, then that one, and do that one. And then I'm going to do some digitizing open shapes. And we'll make this a satin. And then we're just going to play with these sizes here until we get something that looks good. Do 1 millimeter. That's pretty good. You don't want to go too low. The lowest I will go is 0.4 millimeters. I know that my machine can do it. You got to be a little, you have to know what your machines are set up to do too as well. Some will automatically add on pull comp at the machine. So I could be doing a 0.4 millimeter satin right now in my software. That's what I said. But the other thing you got to know is that under stitching, there's pull comp. So I did 0.4, but it's adding 0.17. So now I'm at 0.57. But my happy machines, they're going to add 0.2 to every satin. So now I'm at 0.77. So you got to be a little careful about that. And some machines, same brand, same model, might have that disabled. So I know actually the one that just wiped itself, it's going to be disabled. So I could run the same design on both machines. So you're going to have a completely different outlook. So you have to be a little careful about that. So that's why it's nice having a professional digitizer, because they know some of those things like that, so they can keep that in mind. Whereas if you're brand new to this, you don't really think about it, which it's not really your fault. It's just, you just have to learn that, and it takes time. So I'm going to bring this back in. We're going to go up here. And again, looks like Jeff is coming back on.
In theory, I'll still be here. Last time I do Windows updates.
Yeah, right. I just disable them. I'm still running Windows 3.1. Don't have any issues. I got my install media right here.
That doesn't surprise me.
Windows 3.1, new in box, sealed.
Now auctioning off, we'll go to the highest bidder who has 85 cents.
I did sell one for $400 in, I think, 2011 on eBay.
So it's basically like your gold reserve. You're going to make extra money from it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm good with that.
So I just did this shape. I don't like it here because I should probably, do these vertical parts here. So I can just delete it. That's the nice thing about it. And then run a new shape. And again, I'm going to digitize closed or digitize block. And then there we go. So now I got those, and then I could come in and do my satin run. And I'm going to go ahead and set my properties right away now. So I got that one, and then I can bring it over here. Do that. And then I'm still painting myself into a corner. And I'm going to overlap it a little bit here because the pull comp. So because the stitches are going this way, it's going to pull in. So I want to go along with it. Here it's going to push this way so I can stay pretty much where the line is. So I'm going to go in a little bit. And that one's going to pop up too. So I'm going to stay behind it. And then this, I'm actually going to just extend this tatami. So if I hit O, I can get the select tool, which is under edit objects. And I'm going to reshape it. So one of the nice things about this is I can add different points. So I can add a right click and it'll give me a curved, and then I can do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another one, just like that. Not that guy. And you can click on it, hit space, and then it will get rid of it. So I could do this in all one fill. You know, it would be just as easy. It'd be fine. You can change your tatami stitch angles, get a little different texture in it, break it up a little bit. I could have put another tatami fill in there, but I mean, let's be real. I think it's, if I hit 0, oh, that's 1. 1, it's such a small shape, I'm not going to see it. Especially if I hold it up to my face, I'll actually see it, but I'm not really worried about it. But yeah.
Now you're in a circle again.
All right, so let's see. I did that one. What I could actually do is run over here. And oh, I forgot. Did that. So I can select this one, do that guy, and then, you know what? Let's break this one up. This is what happens when you do this live. You don't really think a whole lot. Get rid of that one, that, then that, and then I'll, not that guy, this one. And then resequence by selection order. And I will just do this. So right here, it's not touching, but it's going to push it just a little bit. So that should be good. And then what I could do is just run that right there. I can do a longer stitch length.
You're looking at the knot on there because you don't have the next object sequence or that node that you have right in the middle. That'll do it too.
Oh yeah, true. Okay. So now what I can do is I can bring in my orange objects. So this one here, this is where I went from this green to that orange. I don't need that anymore because I'm going to have this shape go directly into this fill, but I need to move these down. I'm going to select these two, holding control. Down here I got move to bottom, and then I can go through. So I'm going to hit H, just verify. So that's actually backwards. So I'm going to bring it back here. That one, I'm going to move that up there. And I need to swap these around. Do that. Now it's going to stop there, start there, end there. I can bring this one down. And then if I pick these two and make it the same green, there's no trim there. There's a lot of trims here because I have to, you know, move all that. But let's see. that's that trim. Never mind. It's one little annoying thing about this is you have to, if it's underneath, you just got to throw out the start. Let's see if I can get some of these cleared up real quick. So that's that one. Sorry if I'm making you sick. So that one's probably, throw that there. That goes there.
So Matt, I have a question.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you go from, let's say, the outline of the patch and start working your way in and going from, because right now you're kind of going from the out and then you're running in, you're doing all this stuff in the center and kind of spreading out. Why wouldn't you go and do like your outside satin and then start coming in?
So I always do it this way because I primarily do 100% filled patches. So and by that, I mean the entire patch is 100% thread. So if I do the border and then come in, it's going to get really distorted, and then I have to cut it to that border anyways. So that's one reason. The other is if I do the satin before I do it, I can't put anything under that border. It's going to be on top of it. There are exceptions where you do want that, like this patch here that I did. The Santa hat goes over Jeff's marrowed or faux marrowed border that he made. So it goes over it. So I did want to do that. So in the middle of my design, I had the border done, and then I put the Santa hat over it to give it kind of that 3D look. Because it would look kind of weird having the border go over the Santa hat, because then it wouldn't flow right. So
yeah.
So
with a shirt, the problem is because shirts are a lot more stretchy than normal patch twill. If you do like an outline like that, and then you start coming in, that fabric starts pushing into the middle, and then pretty soon you have ripples in your fabric that are going to get sewn over and folded, and you're going to see all that pinching. So generally, I like to work from the center out, kind of like you're smoothing a tablecloth is the best way that I've heard it explained by Eric. But you're basically putting it down in the center, and you're pushing everything out towards the outside edge so you don't get any ripples or wrinkles.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I do too. I always do my outline first because the way I'm doing this is I'm still trying to learn some of the different effects of distortion. So by doing this outline, I have immediately, this is what the final shape should be. And then when I sew my sample out, I have that done in a completely random color than what the actual final border will be. And then when I put the border on, if I see it poking out, I know that all the stitching on it is going to push it that way, and I can kind of learn. It's just continuing education or whatever of just how all these different stitches and everything apply. So I always do the outline first, and I always outline it at the end anyways, and then I do my border if I do a satin border if I don't marrow it. Kind of just double kill it, but stitches are cheap. So
Yeah.
all right, so now I'm at this point here. It's ending. I got rid of all my trims. I can go back into digitize. We're going a little longer, but that's fine. It's different software, and I think it's slightly educational, or Jeff is having fun not actually being the one digitizing it, even though you already finished it. But
Oh, I got to touch it up, but I can honestly say I'm a little afraid to open Hatch right now because then everything will just shut off when we got started.
Yeah. All right, so this is going to be just something you kind of got to live with, but it's really not going to be a problem in the grand scheme. So what'll happen here is this is going to pull it apart anyways, and here this is going to push it, and it's going to do the same exact thing no matter what. So if you leave a gap there, you don't want to leave a massive gap. You'll just have to sew it, and you'll see. It's one of them things. The software is always lying to you. You have to actually sew it out. Believe it or not, the way how I learned how to fix that, if it's a larger width, is actually on Justin's Text Talk webinar. He shows you how to do that in like a T, because you got your perpendicular mate right there. Shows you exactly how to fix that. So I would recommend it. All right, so we're actually almost done because I can kind of cheat a little bit. So fonts, this is where a lot of people are like, what font is this? Yeah, I could, try to figure out exactly what font it is. Jeff probably used lettering, I'm sure, unless if you did digitize it by hand. Yeah, sometimes it's faster. Just for the sake, we have plenty of lives on that. I'll end up digitizing it manually probably if this doesn't work. But I'm gonna just do Sky Nights, block 2. Oh, I forgot that updates automatically. So used to Hatch or Wilcom or Embroidery Studio, whatever. And then they got a couple different baselines here. So it's not this one because I can't adjust it the way I want. The one I usually use is I either use just Freeline because I'm doing it quick. I forgot what this one is called, but I use this one too if it would, show me fixed line. And that one, it'll make sure it fits in a certain spot. That's great for name patches and stuff where they're always 3 inches wide or 4 inches wide or something like that. Or this one right here is the important one, which is like any shape. Yeah. So it's still straight line, but if I hit H, that's where your magic comes in. So you have this line, your baseline. I can move this point around, and then it creates a different angle for the text to flow. So what I can do is bring this down. I'm going to bring it to the bottom of the N. And I'm going to make the position X be 0. So now it's centered. Hit H. I'm going to drop a point, a right click right here. And then I can bring these in. And I will just make my basic curve. And then you need to get your sizing of your letters. So I can use M, find a straight object. So it's like 5.5. Come back out under lettering, I think. Height, 5.5. And I got my shapes. So they're a little wider. That's where you can spend hours and hours finding which font is the font you need. It's like this one actually looks pretty close.
Now it just comes down to your kerning.
Yep. So I can do that. Or I can just get this baseline a little bit better, bring it down, and then I can just grab these little nodes that are inside my letters, and I can just manually kern it. I think Hatch has auto kern. No, it doesn't. Does it?
It goes 10% based off the height.
Gotcha. So it's not. You can't adjust it as much. So let me bring this in. And I can do this. The problem with manually moving these is if you change the size, it's going to just completely override where you put everything. And in Embroidery Studio too, it's kind of annoying. But now they're in the same spot. One thing, it is trimming in between each of these letters, it looks like, unless it's just not showing it. Stitching.
If you go into if you turn off your True View and you look for the actual trims, it looks like it's just not showing them.
True. View. Connectors is on. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can see right there on the H, it trims and goes to the T, but between the S, the K, and the Y, it all runs once.
Yeah. So if I didn't want it to trim, which I really don't, because I don't think I'm actually making a whole lot of these, I'm perfectly fine with doing a snip here, snip there, and just one in the H and the T, and I can hit it with a lighter and it'll pull it in and hide it. So if I want to add or remove the trims, I can select the text and automatic trims. So if the distance between the start and the end of your shape is more than 2 millimeters, it's going to do an automatic trim. So if I do always, you're going to see in between each of these letters, it will do that. That's how you get that. If you don't want any lines connecting in between your letters, you do that. but that's what, a couple minutes extra right there. I don't want that. So I'm going to do off. So now I have a stitch here, top at the K, bottom of the Y to the K. Down here, you're not even going to see that anyways. There'll be one little here, that one. But the only other ones you're going to see, so it's going to be that one, maybe that one, and then on both sides of the T. But these, I would just slip. I got one of these. They're called squeezers. It's a scissors with a tweezers pair, and you just slip it under each side. On the T, I would just snip it in half, and then I hit all my patches with a hot air gun, and then it'll just shrivel that up, and you don't even have to worry about trying to get in real close. So that's how I do it. So I actually will do this text last, because if you think about it, I did this shape. I can jump right into the border, and then I can finish with the text. So then I only have one trim. So I duplicated it with Control D, or it's up here. You can duplicate. There's a couple other different ones. You can offset it if you want. I don't need to, and I don't want to actually. I want it to be right in the same spot. So now I want this to be a satin. So I'm going to make it a satin here. I gotta hope that I can do what I want to do in here. Offset. There we go. So I'm not going to do that first because I want to show you. So I said I want to do 4 millimeter. And the problem with the way it is right now, 4 millimeters as a satin is actually pretty big. Usually, what, 2.5 to 3?
I'd say 3.
Yeah, we'll just go with that. Okay. 4 millimeters is what a Marrow machine is typically doing. But for this demonstration, so right now it is on the center. So if I actually look at my patch, metric US, they wanted it to be, I deleted it.
3.54 inches tall.
Yeah, and 2.5, I think, wide. So it's bigger than that. So I could just change the size of it. That would work for this shape probably, but when it's like a different shape with like this one, it's going to not work right in the different angles. So what you actually want to do, it's actually even easier. You just click offset, and then it brings it in. And now if I go back into this, you can see it's right on that black border. And then that's pretty much that. But you can see I still have that text there. So this is going to trim right. It's going to trim right there. And it's going to do the text. And then it's going to trim and then go back into the border. So what I'm going to just simply do is drag this down or up, or actually click the up. You just can't drag it in Hatch. This is different in version 3. They put the red ants dotted border around it. Before it would just make it a solid black. So it's definitely way easier to actually see what object you're on. So that's nice. Good job. So I'm going to move this back over here. And I could bring this up here so that it'll just automatically stop there and it'll go right into my lettering. Make it a little closer. And then just make sure there's not a trim there. There's not. There will be a trim here going into the S. What I could do is put that there, and now there's not even a trim there. So there'll still be a little connector line there. Not really a problem. I'm not worried.
And you're gonna marrow this?
I probably will marrow it because it's just black border, so I don't have to worry about it. And
the other thing I'd point out is your cornering.
Yeah, down here.
Yep.
There's a mitering thing, isn't it?
Might have to right click on it.
Do you? No.
It's got to be in there somewhere, right? Automatic corners needs to be checked.
Well, it's not doing anything anyways. And then I also got all this down here too. That's a little funky, but just bring that one down.
So one of the things he could do to fix that bottom is he could knife that right there. And you'll see how it changes it to like that. And now he can bring the edges up. And if you can break it apart now. That's where I'm going. Oh, you undid your knife, didn't you?
Did I didn't actually. That was weird because I just added another node there.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Okay.
Just trying to auto complete your shape for you. That would be frustrating. But
Interesting.
Because now you could break it apart and taper it.
Something funky is going on. What do you want me to do? I'm doing the outline. That's what that shape is. It's like, what is that one? Okay. Well, I guess Jeff doesn't have his up.
Yeah. So basically, you select after you knife it, you can break it apart, and it'll change it from a satin C to like a blocks.
So that's what, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what Jeff is talking about. So right now, if I do this, I have this. So it's still satin. So I could go in and I could change the width if I wanted. If I click break apart right now it's a fill. So I can come in here and I could right click here and I could make it look really weird like that. I couldn't do that before because it's a satin shape thing or whatever. I don't know what to call it. Line. It's not a fill. It's an outline. There you go. Words. Man, I'm tired. It's been a long day. All right. So this is what Jeff wants me to do. Now I'm catching. So I break it apart right now. Now I have a fill. So now I can take my knife and I could do this. That's one way I could do it. I could do that.
Yeah, but now you got to redo all your stitch angles. That's no fun.
And it just combined it for some reason. The other thing you do is click it right here. Or actually just, just bring it up. Close enough. Good enough for government work. I'm going to be mirroring it anyways. So
it is for the government, right?
I don't think so, actually.
Oh, I take the fun out of it.
The company. One thing I did, so this could be done. I did realize that this little cheater line that I did right here, I could actually make it I don't know why this is being so, I don't know if it's because I'm streaming it.
Could be. Or your USB drive failure is affecting my computer.
No. So instead of doing this little line here just to get from here to there, I could do this entire outline and it would break it apart too. Because then, so I delete this one, then do that, and then click this guy. So now it's going to do this shape and and then I'm going to bring the end up here. Make sure there's no trim, and there's not. And I can hit D to get rid of my artwork. And now it doesn't have that little cheater line, and it actually looks a little bit better. I'll probably go and add the outline like Jeff did to this. So there's two ways you could do it. You could do the same thing I just did, is go and make the outline by hand. Or the really easy way is you can duplicate it, click outline. There you go. There's that. The problem with that, though, is that's typically how you're gonna get that gap, and then you're gonna be like, what's up? Is it stabilizer? Is it digitizing? And it's typically you're digitizing. So right down here on this bottom part, this is gonna poke through. So that's where you gotta be a little careful about that. So I could bring this in. Again, this is gonna be more of your it's not true. I guess it is your basics, but it takes a little bit more to actually understand how that part works. And then this is going to poke up there, bring that down. And then you're going to have the possibility, because let me grab these two and put them into a new design. And I will make this one orange, maybe. So these stitches are both going pretty much left to right. So the orange is going to pull in, and it's going to actually end pretty much right there. And then this is actually going to shrink. I'm going to make this, I'm not using real measurements, but come on. And then this is going to be like 0.85 or something. So there's not a whole lot of overlap here. You can see that there's a little space coming through here. I mean, that's fake. Don't believe what the software's showing you there. But you're going to get a gap there, most likely. The larger the distance, the more it's going to be exaggerated. So that's where I'm going to let's see, which one do I got? I want the orange. So I could pull it out and have it go further in. And maybe not that far. Again, this is not a large object, so it's not going to be as dramatic, but I'm over dramatizing it for education. And I think Jeff would concur. He has that weird look like, Matt, you're an idiot. But I'm the one with the gummy worms, and they're sour. I don't see you have any. So.
And you're the one with the software up, so I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah, there's that too. All right, so that's kind of your intro to pull comp, which I'm pretty sure I said I wouldn't really do, but so yeah, basically here again, I'll just make it orange. I brought this up because it's going to pull this way, but it's going to push against, because if you have your two fingers, I don't have it. And if I put another one in between, it's going to split it apart, and then it's going to make that overall width be wider. And that's what's happening. So it's going to get wider this way, narrower this way. So I just kind of bring it in and take care of that. So right now, it's not sequenced properly. If you have a lot of objects, one of my tricks is you would make the part that you want to move it to after a different color, and then you do colors like this. So I can select this object, make it this color. I can drag this up here. So now it's going to do this shape and that one, and I can just make it all green again. And I just got to watch where my start and stops are. End there, start there, end there. Start there. And there you go. And then again, going back to the very beginning, I'm going to have a lot of stitches there, a lot of layers. That the satin is going to look really weird because it's going to be it's kind of teetering on the edge of this other satin. So then I can go through, I could knife it, or I could break it apart because I don't need to change the shape of it. So I got to find that tool. It's under Edit Objects. Break apart, knife it. wait for it to freeze.
Or unfreeze.
Okay, I'll just retry. So I can bring it right here and make sure I'm selecting the part I want. Knife it. And then I got this piece here is the one I don't want. So again, just make sure my start and stop, start, stop. See, that would be a trim. Bring that back up here. And let's see if I got a trim. And I don't see one, so it looks like it's pathed decently. I still got one here. Oh, that's because I broke it apart. And this one is down here now. And there you go, 0 trims.
Very nice.
So
It's
that's that. Hour and a half for something that probably took, you know, realistically just a couple of minutes if you weren't trying to do it live. You know, that's just kind of how it goes. But
yeah, when you're explaining concepts and things, it takes a little bit longer.
Yep. And again, like I said at the very beginning of the video, like this is the first time I'm using Hatch in, you know, months.
Ever.
So yeah, I mean, I stopped using Hatch in December 2020 when Jeff was like, "Hey, Embroidery Studio is on sale," so I bought it and I used Hatch for a little bit because there were certain things I couldn't do in Embroidery Studio yet, and then I bought the add-ons and I got it. But other than that, I mean, it's for the price. I mean, it's one of the recommendations because you can kind of get different tiers. They have flex pay, but
yeah,
this is one of the options out there. So
Mark cracks me up.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, it takes me an hour and a half every time. So, you know, it's one of those things that with Hatch, you end up having to go through a lot of sub menus, and with E4, there's a button on their screen. So, if you're doing it a lot, it's a lot easier to have the buttons on your screen where you have easy access to them, or learn all your hotkeys so that you're not really navigating menus.
All right, so there's that. That was what we wanted to cover. We had a request to do some Hatch video, so I kind of was a lot of the base. That's why I was very verbose about everything I was doing. So I think, Jeff, we had some things to give away, didn't we? Just randomly.
Was that today, or are we doing that later?
No, I think we're doing that today, right now.
Oh, are we?
Watching. All the fabulous nerds.
Oh, all right. Well, you go to town.
Okay, well, we said we wanted to give some things away. I can hold you a sample of the bag of what it would come in, because I don't have any.
Really?
Anymore. No, because you took them all at Applique Getaway.
I took them all, or you handed them all to me?
I gave them all to you, and I took all the Puff Pros and held them hostage until Justin paid me handsomely for all of his Puff Pro tools back.
I don't have any.
Which, by the way, if you don't have one of these suckers, they're amazing. They're awesome at helping you eat Chinese food. They're really good chopsticks. It's pointy, but not too pointy. I can do this and it doesn't really hurt until it draws blood. But we'll ignore that. But they're awesome. Great for sublimation too. Oh, and they're great for puff too. There's that. Okay, so Jeff is back. And that was our plug for the 3D Puff Pro. So we'll take our royalties now. Just kidding. Justin's not here, so he's the inventor if you didn't know. Okay, patch kit. What is it?
It's patch kit. Oh, you want me to go through it?
Yeah, you're the one with it. I don't have it. What am I going to do? Like,
you get business cards.
Woo.
They're the best. You get an applique getaway patch that Matt made and sewed out on his machine and actually marrowed. And then you have we have some of our twill that we sell. Just enough to give you a sample. And then we have also a few pieces of the stabilizer that we like to use. And
awesome stuff.
The plastic bag.
Which you could do a applique on if you really wanted to, but maybe.
I might have done it before. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So Matt wants to give it away, and I don't know who he's going to pick.
Yeah, I don't really know how we didn't really plan this. So
the first person to type purple dinosaur in the chat wins.
Okay, that's one. But that might not be fair to Mark because he has to go across the transatlantic internet cable thing, or I don't know who his internet provider is. If it's NBC, I know that was when I was on Okinawa, but I don't see anyone saying it yet. I mean, oh, it is Mark. Would you look at that?
There you go.
Mark's also ordering some twill from us already, so I guess he'll just get a free extra.
I'll throw some stuff in there. It'll be great.
All right, and then what about excluding Mark, the first person to be? Let's see. I picked a number 1 through 50. I just sent it to Jeff. Closest person to it in, I don't know, what time is it? Why do they have to have a digital clock on the computer? Like, I want an analog clock. Well, it just went 34, so. Really, I'm just going to give it to the first person whoever says a number. So.
All right.
And
I'll give you a number.
Mark's been wanting a getaway patch because, unfortunately, he lives in a undisclosed location in totally not Japan. It's not undisclosed anymore.
It is now. Uh-oh. We got numbers going in.
Yeah. So if you don't know, the applique getaway was a show that we went to earlier in the year. This is the patch. This is a bad one because you can tell by how bad it is.
Wait a minute. Somebody's guessed twice, man. Somebody's guessed 3 times.
I said 1 through 50, and Ramona, 2 of her entries are over 50. But yeah, that patch, you get a couple sample designs with it. If you can buy the thread pack on our website, but if you can win it right now, why wouldn't you just want to win it? I mean, you could buy it too if you want, but
let's go this way. We'll go the closest without going over, because that's like Wheel of Fortune time there.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to 36, 7:36, center of the universe time.
Okay, so we got exactly 60 more seconds.
Okay, and Ramona, you need to pick your final answer, Ramona.
Final answer.
And then, yeah, so we got Mark gets one.
Yep.
And Ramona thinks she's getting 20 of them. Remember, the highest number was 50.
I do remember that Ramona has this already, at least.
Yeah, I know. But it's awesome stuff. I mean, it's what I'm using. Like, I have a whole roll of it. And under there, I have white and black and stabilizer, and you can't
purple.
See on the happy over there. It's a sash just full of it, and then the other happy, and that you can barely see because I'm very organized. Can't you tell? But
All right, Matt, it is time. You're now closing, and you're picking the winning number, and the winning number is...
Okay, let's see. It's probably Ramona because she even picked the same number twice. Oh no, never mind. Okay, so 17, 25. 30.
Wait, let me look at the number again. Got it.
Okay, so Ramona's first number is going to be her real one, which is 37. 15.
Fired.
20, 55, 25, 69, 48, 13. It looks like it is Ramona, isn't it?
I'll tell you what. This is what I'll do because I'm feeling jolly, and if I laugh, okay. Jesse Gibson. There we go. We've got Kingsbury's Craft. We've got Ramona, and we'll go Honeybee Creations as well. All of you guys contact us on our Facebook page, and I will mail one out to every one of you guys.
I was just going to say that's what we can do.
That's what we're going to do.
If you leave a like on the video.
Oh, check. Gotta like the video.
Yeah, you got to do some work. I mean, that's that, you know.
All right. Well, everybody, that is what we had scheduled for today. I don't think, let me just double check here. We will be not having any scheduled live next week due to the holidays and the week after as well. So we're going to take a couple weeks off. You guys, we appreciate you guys watching. I'm Jeff Fuller from Fuller Embroidery Works. That's Matthew Enderle from Patch Phrase. Do you have anything else to say?
We might just like pop in and say happy holidays or something.
Yeah, we might be chaotic.
It won't be an hour long.
Yep, nothing scheduled.
Yeah.
But all right, everybody. Well, we'd like to thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yep.
Next time.
See ya.